What if I told you that there is a method for decluttering your home that doesn't leave you completely overwhelmed and mentally drained by decision fatigue, and it doesn't require you to have a huge chunk of time available to you to get the task done? And this isn't a traditional method, so it's not one of those methods that's going to ask you to haul everything out and then make a one by one, item by item decision on whether you're going to keep that thing or let it go. This is a simple, very satisfying, and actually could be quite a fun way to declutter your space. So let me tell you about a stress-free way that you can begin creating a bit more space in your home without turning the whole place upside down. So if you're watching this video, I reckon it's because, like me, you know that you've got a little bit of decluttering to do in your home, and it probably feels much easier just now to watch a video about it than to actually get on and do something about it. That is so me too. And here's the thing, if you walked into my home just now, you probably wouldn't think that it looks very cluttered, but open a few cupboards, a few drawers, climb up into the attic, and that's where it all lies. It's the kind of clutter that hides well, but it still weighs on you. And what stopped me from tackling it in the past? Honestly, traditional decluttering methods. They rely on having a huge chunk of time available to devote to the process. And here's the thing, I'm busy. I run a business. I run two households, my own and my dad's, who I care for. I try to keep my garden looking nice. I try to devote some time to fitness. I try to squeeze in a bit of a social life now and then. I'm busy. I don't have a ton of time to be able to devote to decluttering. And if that's my life, I guess it's yours too. And then there are the methods that need you to pull everything out and make those decisions on each item one by one. And that just completely overwhelms me. And so there are areas of the house that need decluttered that I just avoid, because I know that there's stuff in there that I'm just not ready to deal with. And there could be items in there that would be very easy to deal with, but they're behind the things that are really hard to deal with. And so I just avoid the whole lot. Does that sound like you maybe too? And that's why this method works so well, because it meets you where you are, both practically and emotionally, and it gives you a way to start without any of the stress. And it really can be quite fun. Did I mention that? It can be pretty fun as well. Okay, so some of the practical things as we get started here. In any decluttering method, whether it's this one or a more traditional method, you're going to have to make some decisions around what happens to the items that you're decluttering when they leave your home. Are they just trash, or are they recyclable, or are you going to maybe give them to friends and family or donate them to charity? Or maybe you might think about reselling them on a platform like Vinted or eBay or Poshmark, depending on what platform is available in your area. And that's entirely up to you whether you've got the energy to sell on some of these items or not. That's a decision that only you can make. But it makes sense to have something to corral those items in and separate them right from the start. So a couple of bins or cardboard boxes, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You could just literally make piles on the floor, so don't let this be a barrier to stop you before you even start. An Amazon delivery box, your laundry basket, it can be anything. But decide if you're going to grab some bins or just make piles on the floor. Personally, I like to have some bins or boxes, because if I get interrupted in the middle of the process and I want to put it all to one side, it makes it much easier to be able to just move a couple of bins or boxes to one side rather than having piles on the floor. But that's just me. So if you think bins and boxes will work for you, grab a couple before you start. And just to be clear, that for the purposes of this video, when I'm talking about the decluttering process, and the method we'll come on to just in a moment, I'm talking about the process up to the point where you have these piles and bundles that you are ready to take out of your house. I'm really not covering the getting rid of part, because that will look different for all of us. It might be that you're taking a bundle of stuff to the charity shop, or you might have a box of things that you're going to sell on. What you do with these items after you've decluttered them is entirely up to you. But we're going to be looking at the process up to the point where you've got a pile of stuff that's going to be leaving your home. And so here's the method, and why it works. You basically set yourself a challenge and then you go for it. And the challenge can either be based around a number or a time scale or both. And that's the fun part, because you set the rules, you set the challenge, and then you go for it. Your challenge to yourself might be, I'm going to find 10 things each day this month to declutter. Or you might say to yourself, over the course of this weekend, I'm going to find 100 things in this home to declutter. Or you might grab your phone and set yourself a timer and say, I'm giving myself 15 minutes and I'm going to go around and find as many things as I can declutter in 15 minutes. And then you're going to do the same challenge the following day, but you're going to try and beat day one in the number of items that you managed to find to declutter. I even saw someone set themselves a challenge where they doubled the number of items they had to declutter each day for 10 days. So on day one, it was just one thing. Day two was 2 things. Day 3 was 4 things. Day 4 was 8 things. And so it goes on for 10 days. And if you do the maths, you'll realize that after 10 days, you will have decluttered over 1,000 items. It gets serious quickly. And that's the thing, there are so many different ways that you can challenge yourself. You can adapt this to kind of make a real game for yourself into it. It turns into a bit of a clutter scavenger hunt. And the best part of it is that you're not having to empty the entire contents of a cupboard and then sit there on the floor and go through every single item and decide what you're going and what you're keeping to get the job done. You're not reorganizing your entire wardrobe or emptying the whole contents of your attic just to be able to do this decluttering. You're simply scanning your space and picking out, first of all, the really obvious things that need to go. And yes, at some point, you're probably going to want to get to the back of the attic or get to the back of the cupboard. But that's going to be after you have got rid of all the really easy things, the low-hanging fruit. And that's what's so great about this method, is that you're tackling all the easy things first. And so that gives you a real boost, and it gives you a real sense of momentum to go on a little bit further and a little bit deeper and get to the things that are at the back of the attic or the back of the wardrobe. But only once you've done all the easy things first. And you're not being asked to tackle the kids' memory boxes or any of that stuff early on. That's a problem for another day. And that's what I love so much about this method. I don't have to block out a whole day or a whole weekend to get it done. And I don't have to turn the whole house upside down and get completely overwhelmed in the middle of it and then wonder how on earth I'm going to get to bed that night because the entire bed is covered in stuff. I can just set myself the challenge of a number or a time scale, whatever works for me in that moment, and that is enough. My first challenge was literally waiting for my kettle to boil, grabbed my empty laundry basket and ran upstairs, straight to this cupboard where I knew there were a bunch of paperbacks that I've already read. They're all sitting together, so I knew that would make a nice, easy start. Popped them in the laundry basket and opened the wardrobe door. Inside, 3 articles of clothing that every time I'm in there, I think, why are they still hanging in here? I'm never going to wear them again. So they were next to go in the basket. Into the bathroom, some empty bottles, packets that were just lying around for no good reason. A couple of things that have just dregs in them. So in it goes. Something that I bought that I'm never going to use, in it goes. Another bottle, virtually empty, why is it still in there? And an airline amenity kit that I really have no idea why I hung on to it. 19 things to go straight out the door. Okay, so now it's over to you. You've seen how this method works and why it's such a game changer, especially if you've struggled with the more traditional decluttering methods in the past. So what are you going to do? Are you going to set yourself a number and go hunting for that many items today? Maybe it's 5 or maybe it's 50, or maybe you want to keep it going every day for a week and see what happens. Or perhaps you'll break it down by area. 5 things from the kitchen, 5 from the wardrobe, 5 from your beauty stash or your cleaning cupboard. Or maybe you're more motivated by time, setting a timer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and seeing just how many things you can find before your timer buzzer goes off, and then do it all again tomorrow and try and beat today's total. However you approach it, remember, you set the rules. You make it work for you, for your time, for your energy, and for your home. So do let me know in the comments what you're going to challenge yourself to do. And once you've done it, come back to the video, drop me another comment and let me know how you've got on. Or you can always DM me over on Instagram. You'll find me at The Seasonal Touch. And don't forget, if it feels fun and satisfying, then you'll want to keep going with it. And if this video has motivated you to do a little bit of decluttering, then you're definitely going to want to take a look at this video, where I look at a particular type of clutter and why this might just be the exact thing that is holding you back. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.